Okay, so both our markets are pretty intense right now, right? Like me
Yeah.
being in California and you being here, like servicing, even though you do a lot of business in California too, but mostly Northern Nevada. And it's high octane, it's super stressful. Everyone is, it's just balls to the wall right now. But I feel, at least in my market, and I'm pretty sure you feel the same, that there's a lack of appreciation or understanding for, you know, how hard certain aspects of this are, maybe who has the hardest part of it, who carries the brunt of it,
Yes.
which we're biased, of course, but there is some substantiation for it that we can provide, which is we think lenders have it bad. But what do you tell clients or people that ask about the process and what it's like, or how you would, relate it to them in terms of how...
Like what they could think of my loan process is like.
Yeah, like how heavy it is. Because I tell people something, but what do you share with people?
I don't think I agree that people don't really get what it is like behind the scenes for us as the lender to get the loan to clear to close. Those magical words.
Yeah.
Because the realtor has a tough job, especially now here in Reno with how competitive the market is and how many offers they're going to have to write for the client and how many properties they're going to have to show and to keep the client engaged. Definitely a hard job. But as soon as that offer is accepted, I think the brunt of it shifts to the lender for sure to get them to the closing table, because COVID or no COVID, there is always changing lending guidelines. The rules are constantly being mixed up on us. We're constantly being commoditized so that the focus is on rate instead of how the client's actually going to get approved. And so when we're in the thick of it, my goal is that the client doesn't feel this, but the only way for them to not feel the stress is to think of it like I had to put them under anesthesia. Which I like to use that analogy because I like to compare myself to a brain surgeon because I went to school for almost as long and I'm definitely as smart. So if I'm the brain surgeon in the transaction, the client's the one in surgery. So I've got an anesthesiologist who's just keeping them under so that they don't know what happens while they were on the operating table. They could have died. We may have called in like 7 different specialists to bring them back. They don't know how long we were doing CPR. All they know is that they woke up in a nice room with their loved ones surrounding and smiling at them, which was their realtor handing them keys to their brand new house. And then after that, there's like a decompression for us of like, okay.
Like an emotional hangover almost.
We got it done. We got them there.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily because anybody did their job right or wrong. It's just that for us to get someone from pre-approved to closed, it's an insane amount of paperwork, loan, guidelines. I'm not going to ask you to prove that the sky is blue. I'm going to ask you to prove that the sky is blue and verify for me 3 different ways that the sky is blue. That's what's required in the loan process these days.
That's pretty well put. And what about like agents that sometimes come back if they heard you saying them like, well, my lender at, big bank here on the corner, or this big bank over here, like First National, First this, First that. My lending is never like that. It is completely smooth. We don't have ever there's never an issue.
That's because your lender is also under anesthesia. You both are under anesthesia, and there's someone behind the scenes who is sweating bullets to get that client closed. It just may not be your retail loan officer who gets to be on the golf course networking all day, but he's got someone like me behind the scenes closing transactions.